So this is going to be very different today, just so you know. What are you noticing? Okay, let's flip this around. There we go. All right, so the print should be in its proper orientation there. Now everything here will be backwards. So I'm going to flip that around, tighten this up a bit. I'll be taking us outside. It's high winds and rain. Lots of rain going on out there and heavy wind. I wanted to show you a couple of things here. First, I'm going to go ahead and mute the beam I've got going on up there. All right. And I'm going to unpack a few things here. Australia, are you okay down there? And Antarctica, yeah. Does water curve? Well, absolutely. It'll fill its container. Undisturbed water is flat and level, though, the surface of it. So in the mirror, we've got the upside down heavy equipment operating there. And right in front of you, we're looking at the square container filled with water on top of a round globe. The water doesn't stick to a spinning ball. What I've got here is a flat map of the maybe round Earth. I don't know. It's all kind of weird. That's a drinking water bottle that will be emptied into the bathtub, and I'm going to unpack some of that later. Here's Santa showing the global lie. I didn't make this. I found it at the Goodwill. And I just want to take you for a little walk around the house and explain a few things to you. It's a dangerous thing, exposing the reality of the world that we live in. Got a bunch of kitties sleeping under that bedding there. Let me unpack a few upside down naked kitties. There's Smeagol. Nope, that's Dean. And that's Frank. And let's see, where is Smeagol? Oh, nope, that's Lily. Smeagol, where are you? Oh my gosh. I bathe them pretty regularly. Oh, that's Olive. Hi, Olive. Okay. I don't know where Smeagol went to. Anyway, biggest pine cone I've ever seen. Got it at the swap meet. Oh, here's some upside down cards. This should be pretty interesting for y'all. Let's see, to have it so you can actually see it proper. I think I would need to do that. We're on our way out the door here. I just wanted to show you a couple of things. Yeah, I know it's upside down. That's important. I've got a rolling boil happening here. That's cooking on the stove, going to be nice and warm. I'm cutting everything down to low so I don't burn up the kitties and catch the house on fire. It's water anyway. Does water curve? Well, yes, it does. Just not the surface of it. When it's undisturbed, it's flat and level. This will hold a lot of heat in it. We could have a power outage today. Wouldn't be surprised of that. Gale force winds. 5 gallons of water. I've got roughly 10 gallons of water up to, I've got it set to 200 degrees there. The globe that you saw filled with helium. Helium is nice and dry. I wouldn't be able to bathe with a gallon and a half of water, right? Not so good. I mean, I could get cleaned up. Now I'm just going to shut that off. When the water overflows, the extra just runs down into the washing machine. All right. I think that's, oh, it's really good that cat litter and everything, those are all pine pellets. They work excellent. And they're equine pellets, that's what they call them. They're 40 pounds is less than $6 or so. That's the arsenal of clear, clean water. Less than 1 part per million of dissolved solids, and it's very aggressive. Reverse osmosis, carbon filtered. Let me make sure I put that on the screen again. I can flip that around so you can read it better. Oh, here we go. I'll put it back. Hope you enjoy the ride. This will be interesting. The sun is approaching, and that's good. It's just what it does. I'm going to cut some lights out here. I don't need that on. Oh, you know what? I did want to show you something here, though. This is the liquid nutrients: spinach, kale, chia seed, hemp hearts, broccoli, apple cider vinegar, mixed berries. When I bring it on home, I throw it in the freezer, of course, including tomatoes right there. I'll just blend them all up. Spinach turns it into a powder. I use the Ninja there to do it all. Works great. Okay, so I'm going to take that with me. I do like my coffee yet. Grind up the beans, send it through some purified water through it, and then this is a thermos. What will you do when the truth is right in front of you? What will you do with that? Okay, so I'll take this with me. It's super nutrient dense nourishment. I'll take it with me. I'll probably be outside. I don't know that the bulldozers are going to be operating today. Those are the Watercross shoes. I've got 7 pair of them. They had holes in the bottom, and they would pick up a lot of sand through there. They're all ventilated. They breathe really good, really lightweight. I can rock climb with them, and they dry out really good when I'm on the beach. Okay, so out the back here, wind and rain. Can't see a whole lot of that. Let me flip on the light. Got a fountain right there. Extra sandbags in case the flooding comes back. You can't just run out and get sand off the beach. It's against the law. Oh well. I've got a lot of plants in the house. We do. I'll just show you again. The plants, the bulldozers, and of course plenty of mirrors. So when I'm laying in bed, I can see where the moon is and the sun. I don't see the sun from here too much. I'm awake probably 20 hours a day. I'm good with it. I get the rest I need. Some people wonder what I do for a living. Well, in my spare time, we actually have a cleaning business too. I think I'm going to leave this on for now because I want to show you something outside here. Had to pull these wind chimes in off the tree. They were just too obnoxious. A lot of water collected. I still have my water, my bird bath out here. I took down the water display. Somebody evidently didn't like it. I don't have a problem with that. It's up on the internet. This is better here. How would that work upside down in any world, right? You see, it wouldn't. Upside down doesn't work. So this is truly a mobile broadcast studio. That's part of what's going on with that. And let's flip it around now. Dramatic effect. Is it a little unusual to wear a helmet in the car? Yeah, no doubt. Oh, the lighting is really... See, that's part of what what happens with the visor is that it works really good to block the wind, road film, rocks and mud and all of that, like when I race motocross. So it's easier to get suited up on my pre-trip. And now I'm going to flip it around, show you the upside down like that. Okay, so I'm going to cut this off. I don't want to have a problem with too much inside lighting. There we go. When I started recording the audio Bible, the earliest versions, I had a speaker and a microphone, and just a little bit of wind made a huge difference. Well, the flag is standing straight out. Let's go by there and show you that. Global lies. How about that? How about the global lies? Hashtag it. The flag waving on the moon. Yeah, we didn't go to the moon. They're lying. They're lying. I ain't buying. Who's they? Well, Satan. Satan will use who and what he can. God uses it all, including Satan. That's the way it works out. The people just on the left here is where I got that big screen TV for $100. What a deal. We've got a little amenities center and swimming pool area right here. It's pretty nice. Part of this is a sound check. I want to see how the new MV88 Shure microphone is. Not too many people out by the pool right now. Cold, windy, rainy. All the water, undisturbed water, is flat and level. The symmetry of the reflections indicate that. Evidence of that reality. I wanted to take us out when it would be a bit dark, and we would be able to see things like, the reflections off the roadway. The sun, moon, and stars move above the face of the stationary Earth. It's just the way it is. Whether you like it, agree with it, or not. Veeams. You can hashtag Veeams. You'll see my content. Hashtag Robert Forsch. That's who I am. There's the light in from my garage, our garage. It's not ours. We rent. Ownership is the illusion of is an illusion anyway. Stop paying your taxes. See what happens to your property. Yeah, you have to go. Gotta go. Not gonna let you stay in there unless you're paying your taxes. Like Morpheus, when you go to the Matrix is all around you when you pay your taxes, when you go to church. Yeah, how about that? So life for me is a bit interesting and certainly unusual, as I'm sure you can imagine. In a little while the lights will be off. It's 6:55 apparently, according to that. I like 77 degrees. And then the sun is approaching from, actually that's where it approaches in the summer. In the winter it's going to come up way over there. How about that? This is approximately 8 feet above sea level when I was in the driveway. How about that? Got an upside down Walmart truck there. And a decoy police car. Yeah, they just set it there. It still has an effect. People notice it and think about it. Can see the reflection of the lights on that water there, right? Oh, and there goes the water seeking its level. Wait until you see what we're going to do in just a moment here. Oh, it looks like there's still some left in the trough. Oh yeah. Yeah, they avoided it. I'm going for it right now, baby. Here we go. Ready? Oh yeah. Got Rain-X on the windshield. See how that works? Oh, that means we're on a globe. No, it means I've got Rain-X on my windshield. That's what that means. Rain-X reduces surface tension, makes the glass really slippery. They use it on aircraft. That car's going 15 over. You know, Sunday morning, right around 7 o'clock. Hey, I wonder if they're going to turn into the hospital. That looks like somebody running late for work. That's my guess. I've got mine set on cruise control and 45. That's the speed limit here. They may be going somewhere else. I don't know. I don't need to know. I just need to go the speed limit. It's a lot less stress that way. Yeah, they're headed down south. Yeah, the upside down world doesn't work. Doesn't have to. Water retention ponds carved out to create the ramp for the vehicles. So, like for example, architecture has like the buildings and all that have a foundation for them. Let's show you one that's just very interesting. There's a bank. A bank has a foundation as well. Now that police car, that one's probably a decoy as well, but not necessarily. Could be. But this is a car wash facility. That looks like a repurposed old police car. Could be. Oh, Lyft. I got called from Lyft. They said I can work for them. Don't need to. So, like right in the middle here is the drain. It's a big deal. We can see that the concrete slab goes towards the center. It needs to. Obvious proof that the earth doesn't move. So were the wind chimes at the Flat Earth Conference. Actually, reality exposes the global lie. Nobody lives on a globe except in their imagination. Oh, that's funny. A whole bunch of upside down garbage cans. Yeah, they won't pick up much water like that, right? So one of my first Veeams was the upside down bicycles on the beach. I flipped the camera over. I've been doing it for years now. I just decided to show you something way out of context. Did you ever see heavy equipment on the beach? Okay, so right in the middle of the view we've got the ditch. No big deal, right? Well, it's got a culvert there that allows the water to go under the road. The mist flying off of the car tires is because of the centrifugal force. The water just flies off of the tires. It's just what it'll do. So when I take us out to the beach, I'll show some more aerodynamics and hydrodynamics, all of that. In the middle of the view, there's a big flag. Showing the wind direction at that location. We were projected to have up to 40 knot winds. That's like over 45 miles an hour. Now it's 7:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm on Highway 9, just approaching the Grand Strand Medical Center. A new addition, many millions of dollars. Back to my Veeams at the beach. Not only is the equipment and personnel involved in that hundreds of millions of dollars of investment, it's billions of dollars of purchased services to accomplish what they do. They make islands. They renourish beaches all over the world. That's part of what that's all about. So on the movie set that I'm showing you is basically the world that we live in. What's the value of that? So I needed to take down the YouTube Truth off of my off of the garage there. No big deal. It's still up on YouTube. You can see it if you care to. On my Facebook. All of that. So right here we're going to go down a little bit and then up over the Intracoastal Waterway. Here we've got a memorial garden with how many, my grandmother used to say, do you know how many are dead there in that cemetery? She would say all of them. Was that true? Actually, none of them are. All the bodies died. We're all eternal beings having a temporary human experience. 3 people per second no longer have that human experience. How about that? When you can't fog a mirror or register a pulse, where will you be for eternity? That's a big deal. Okay, so the flat spot in the middle of the view is the waterway right there. What I was getting to when I showed you the slab that was underneath by the power washing place, the car wash, is that it was sloped towards the drain. In architecture, like the bank that I mentioned earlier, right next to it, well, that'll be the high spot in the road or in the on the property, so that all the water flows away from it. And some would say Captain Obvious. Our sons have called me Captain Obvious. Good, good. Okay, so I've got a question for you. If reality is so obvious, why do so many people believe that we live on a spinning, wobbling, gyrating oblate spheroid hurling through space with an imaginary force called gravity, stopping toilet water and people from flying off and flinging out into that imaginary existence? Yeah, I am funny. The reality that we live in is tragically funny. The majority of humanity is deceived, and by irony and paradox, they don't know it. They don't know, and of course, they don't know they don't know. With pride as a powerful catalyst, they're going to think themselves really well informed, that they've got a really good beat on things. Just thought I would swerve into that a little bit. See the symmetry of the reflections? It's just what it does all over the face of the earth. I took some photos last week here. Now that all this water is here, I would be really cautious to edge the car down to the boat launch area. Well, reason being, I wouldn't want to lose traction and have the Truthmobile roll into the waterway. However, I can take us right up to the edge. I don't mind going to the edge and a little beyond. Yeah, no problem there. All right, so I'm gonna take us out for a minute. That shows us the rain a little bit better. And that shows us the wind a little bit better too. So I'm not real sure how effective the little woolly bear is that's on my microphone. Hopefully it's good. Now, in the event that it seems a little silly to be wearing a helmet in the car, feels great out here. I've taken helmets like this over 90 miles an hour, launching myself hundreds of feet in the air. I'm not kidding. Not hundreds of feet high, hundreds of feet far. Take a motorcycle with knobby tires and about a 50-horse engine, weighs about 210 pounds. I was weighing about 160 at the time. I'm about 206 now, maybe 211 depending on the day. It's all kind of interesting. So with that in mind, a person can launch themselves pretty far. Apparently Felix Baumgartner went to the edge of space and jumped out of a capsule. Well, what we got with that was a lot of fakery. Take a look at the Red Bull jump. It was in the camera view from the cabin, we can see the level horizon. And then when you look at the outside view, it shows a very small looking Earth, like really, really small. Not for the elevation they say they were above the Earth, it doesn't match up. And that's largely why I talk about hashtagging the global, global lies. I wanted to make it as brief as I could. And there's also like wow, that was interesting, the lighting on that. So some food for thought. I'm gonna take us down Highway 17 here. This is Sea Mountain Highway. I'm headed towards the ocean right now, and I think what I'll do is take us up by the Cherry Grove Pier, because I can get right close to the water right there, and I can go a different way in a little bit. Ooh, that's why it's so bright. Yeah, I had my light on. That is law enforcement there. I'm glad we're really policed up. A lot of law enforcement around here. So like I was saying earlier, when I started doing the audio Bible on the beach, I would take the motorcycle to the beach to do the broadcast. So in this area, there's a variety of coastal weather that can happen in a day, and does. So I would take a chair, umbrella, extra clothes, all that on a motorcycle. It may not seem like a big deal. It was at the time for me. And so some of what I do, I'm wanting to show you how silly it actually is to imagine being upside down in relationship to other people. And my memes are when a meme isn't quite enough and you want to go further. That's what I wanted to do. And with the lighting, I wanted to show you YouTube Truth in its proper direction, even though I'm on selfie mode. It's kind of interesting. I think you can see it like that. I'm not sure if this will be a test. I'll try and line it up so I can evaluate that later. Now I'm using the front view camera and can only see the reflection of the YouTube Truth on the front of the glass. So the roadways are mostly flat. We can see the sloping away from the Bolanos there. They wouldn't want to have a swimming pool in there. Once again, the buildings are all on the high spot on the lot. And then all the storm drains carry the water potentially away. Well, the problem could be that that the storm drains can actually bring the water in, like happened to us when the flood occurred. Not the Great Flood. That covered the face of all the earth. But here's the when we had Hurricane Florence. Right in the middle of the view is a little drain. I had my motorcycle running in the puddle that was here. That's about as far as I'm going to go right here. Pretty good amount of waves, but not the 8 to 12 feet they were talking about. There's the upside down toilets. See, that's why I say that reality exposes the global lie. None of it is possible. I'm wanting to help people take a look at what we're presented as reality and see how that matches with what is actual. So when the truth is right in front of you, what will you do? This whole broadcast is a meme, a video meme showing how ridiculous, by camera placement, camera position being inverted, showing you the impossibility of the globe, exposing the global lie. Now what I will do is turn this into a YouTube video when I'm done, when I get home, and then I'll put it on my liked video playlist. I like my videos, so it goes on that playlist, and that really upsets a lot of my haters. They just hate it when I love my stuff. Yeah. And they'll be sure to tell me how stupid I am. Some of them. Oh well. I know that anybody that believes we live on a globe is absolutely deceived. I know that. So in one sense, I actually feel sorry for them. Because 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 says, to all of creation forever, they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. Now, this is the Prince Resort in Cherry Grove, South Carolina, and right in the view here is the in the middle of the view is the Cherry Grove Pier. I'll just take us on up from this vantage point. Got the swimming pools right there. That's like a fountain that puts out 35 gallons per minute. The water comes up, is pumped up, and then just obviously comes right back down. There's up and down, buoyancy, B-U-O-Y-A-N-C-Y, buoyancy. Differences in density and mass. Heavier falls, lighter floats. There's the drain right there. So if water comes in over the beach, it'll go back out into the ocean that way through that drain, because they certainly don't want to flood out the elevators. Right here where the doors are, I can see that it's the high spot, and then it's sloped away on both sides. It's just the way that architecture is designed. This, where I'm driving, is the low spot in the ramp, and there we go, another drain right there. So oceanfront condos available for sale at the Prince Resort. The Hoffman Group is who you call. If you're going for a pen, let me make it a little bit easier for you. How about that? Oh, gonna have to go back for a while. Remember, this is a Veeam. Imagine what's going to happen when a lot of PewDiePie's followers and subscribers, if they're actually born again, if they realize that they're scientific priests of the godless cosmic Big Bang, NASA, and their ilk, when they realize that they've been lying to them all along. Maybe some of these video gamers are teens or preteen, might even be empty nest baby boomers. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not on the beach. Close to it though, right here, right? There's one of the ships out there right now. I can see that. It's kind of hard to see them. I'll see if I can zoom in for you. That's 10 times zoomed right there. And again, flipping it around is the easiest way to zoom out. So to see birds flying upside down, all of that is kind of weird. It's all weird. The fact that people believe we can actually live on a globe is obvious that they're deceived and they don't know it. And because that's the case, I realize it's a deception that's beyond their human ability to overcome, as best I can tell. I'm convinced it's only by God's grace that anybody can love and believe the truth, let alone find it. The lights make it a lot easier to see each other. The point where I have done a lot of photography is down the direction I was just pointing, a couple miles away. I'm not going to go out there right now. It looks like we're pretty close to high tide. So I believe what I'm going to do is go back on around to the coastal preserve area. Show you that, what that looks like. Some puddles to run through. These houses here are on elevation. They're elevated on stilts. Some of them are wood, and then others with a bigger budget use concrete, steel reinforced concrete for that. The obvious flat spot in the middle is one of the channels. Little swimming pool, and then it's connected to the big swimming pool that covers the face of the earth. So right in the middle of the view is the Prince Pier. It's almost 1,000 feet long. It's a good opportunity to see some of the wind movement. Like the air movement. It's easier to see it with the, now I'll take us a little further away because it's coming from that direction. That building is blocking it a little bit. So there's up and down, and that's what causes things to fall. And people get all ill about arguing about why it happens. Oh, there's gravity. Yeah, research it. Tell me what you find. You might want to also hashtag NASA lies. They're liars. I ain't buying it. They're lying. I ain't buying. So because of all the raindrops, there's a lot of concentric circles on top of the water that creates somewhat of a matte finish. Then we've got the wind directions, the turbulence that's going to create quite a different ability to see things or not. In the middle of the view is a water tower. Is it just a water tower? Well, no, it's a cell tower as well. Wow. And they're doing a lot of work on top of it. Let me see if I can show you. They're putting new gizmos up there. New stuff. Next to it, there's like a monster foundation for a huge tower. When I would be over at the Prince Resort, sometimes my transmission would be not as effective because of that, not having a good connection to the cellular network. So here's the Russell Burgess Coastal Preserve, and then the propeller spinning really fast. Pretty obvious, right? This is kind of a part of a video meme. It says dead end and then no turnaround. Huh, how does that work? I guess the intent is they don't want you to just go down here and turn around. I don't know. I'm gonna do it anyway, of course. I gotta leave. So it's definitely a high tide situation. I can see that because I know the area really well. The Tides Near Me app works worldwide and it's free. I've been able to confirm the accuracy here. When the sun and the moon appear and vanish, their projected percentages. And one of the other dynamics, the where and when the sun appear and vanish, the sun and the moon appear and vanish, varies through the seasons and through the cycles or phases of the moon. Once again, the low spot in the parking lot is where the drain is. The drains are. We've got the liquid money porta unit right there. And no toilet water flying out on there, on people, anywhere. I did hear a story at a bunch of partiers at an event tipped over a porta unit on a guy. When he went in there, they just dumped it over and messed him up. I think alcohol was, let's flip it around. I know alcohol and other drugs were involved. I did some of my stupidest things when I was on drugs and alcohol. And you may say, you know, wearing a helmet is silly. Well, I did it for effect as well. It's just really practical when I get out and I'm in the wind and rain. The helmet does not absorb moisture on the outside. It might get a little sweaty on the inside. There was the drain once again. So I'm not all freaked out about the cell towers. That's just what they are doing. I can't stop them. And I'll use the technology to share God's word to the ends of the earth around the clock. So when I start hashtagging things like NASA lies, or now VEEMS and global lies, that's filling a reservoir that others have added to prior to me. Some people have paid for the ultimate price for exposing the reality of the world we live in. They've been martyred. They've been murdered. Yeah, I can see a whole lot of electronics down below. One of my other and then of course the Porta unit and the massive tower posts that are there. And then they'll have diesel backup generators, or some will have natural gas. A lot of concrete weight down low. So when that tower system is complete, I'm sure cranes will be involved. I've talked to crane operators that were not aware we didn't live on a globe. They didn't know. The lights bounce off of the sign and back to me. It's all repeatable, real science. It's the reality of the world we live in. I'm going to head down to the area where the beach renourishment may be happening. Yeah, the dogs still need to get walked when it's ugly weather. Still happens. All of those reflections of the neon lighting and all of that work so well because the roadway and the aprons are relatively flat. I mean, there's a slight change in elevation. On my YouTube Truth playlist, where I've got the audio Bible merged with the beauty and majesty of creation, you can see the laser beam of it looks like a laser beam of the sun shooting down the beach. I'm going to go right down the middle of the road for effect for a little bit. See, this is actually almost like an optimal time for this because of all the ambient lighting all around. And then the auxiliary lighting. It sure is nice to have the glass in front of me. On the motorcycle, this would be awfully wet and cold. It's 39 degrees right now. The flat water in the middle between the roads. Upside down, no less. It's dangerous to expose the reality of the world we live in. So like the weekend Sonny Bono was killed in a skiing accident, I was in Upper Michigan wearing a helmet, and my wife Joni thought I was crazy for wearing a motorcycle helmet skiing. I said, "Are you kidding? I'm going down diamond runs over 60 to 70 miles an hour next to trees, on skis, on snow." Said my head could pop open like a egg. It's just, it seemed to make sense to me. So when I'm watching the weather presenters in gale-forced winds or 100-mile-an-hour winds, and they're not wearing a helmet, I'm thinking, wow, that just looks dangerous to me. We've seen debris go flying, broken glass, roofs fly off. Yep, we need a new weather guy here. Yeah, how about that? I know it's a little dark humor, but it's I believe, the reality. In the year of 2018, we were scheduled to have 20 million guests here in the Myrtle Beach area. Vanna White has a condo in the Ocean Bay Club right there. Vanna White of the Wheel of Fortune. I've sat with her on the beach, her and her children, for hours. Better part of a day. See the beautiful reflection there? Looks like a good time to go out for a walk on the beach. I'll do that. We've got the flags flying at half-mast. If I haven't upset enough of you yet, George Herbert Walker Bush was, as far as I'm concerned, a wicked man. So is his son, his predecessor, or his family, Prescott Bush. Wicked people doing evil things to humanity. False pretense for war, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to flip this around for a moment and put on my gloves here. They give me a good amount of traction and keep me a bit warmer. They're called Grease Monkey gloves. I got them from Walmart. I could pick up a piece of paper or a penny if I wanted to. in a real serious storm or an emergency, multiple kinds of emergency, this is all steel reinforced concrete. It's quite a structure. Pretty nice. Way more substantial than the Porta units, of course. I remember being down there, and there was some guy from Czechoslovakia out here, pasty white, taking a naked shower. He should have left his swimsuit on. He drew quite a crowd. A couple of squad cars, they had to take him away. I don't know, I guess maybe in the Czech Republic you can naked shower outside. I don't know. Definitely not in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, though. All right, let's take a look at what we got here. So it's all good unless I get a splash over the top of the boot. So I can see the equipment down there. I just don't know that they're operating it yet. I don't see any flashing lights. So part of the idea with an extended beam like this with an inverted view is to let that sink in, the impossibility of the globe. Spinning, wobbling, gyrating, none of that movement can be felt. It's never been proven. It's not just that there's no curvature. It's that this water right here will be flat and level as soon as it settles out. Everywhere on the face of the earth. The little dripping faucet is evidence of the reality of the world we live in. Every time you see a drain, let's do this. It's part of a good illustration too. All of our interaction with water should expose the reality of the world we actually live in. Okay, this is the high spot. We can see that it slopes away. We've got a bunch of drains right here. Why so many drains? Why do we need a drain here if we've got one here and here and here and there and there and there? Well, I'll tell you why. When that ocean decides to come in on this area, we need to have it leave quickly, as quick as possible. There's been canoes out there on the street because there's been over 3 feet of water on the roadway there. That's just the reality. So in the coastal region, in this coastal area right here, even though we get a storm surge, it's unlikely that we're going to get the flooding from after the storm like we did where we live, where I started the broadcast. The storm sewers, storm drains that take the water away, we're delivering it to our neighborhood. Yeah, it was like a week afterwards. The Waccamaw River was cresting. The front of the parking ramps have cables on some of them. It allows a lot more airflow. This is the Wyndham Resort right here. Beautiful accommodations. Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw her at the last minute. So this area right here, this is 6th Street. And this is where the beach patrol, law enforcement in this area go onto the beach quite often in this area. There we've got reserved for electric vehicles if you've got one. And there's no charge to hook up to it. That's a pretty keen deal. We didn't go far enough down. I'm going to go further, but I wanted to show you all the puddling right here. It's only a couple inches deep, no big deal. So the beach renourishment going on now is a bit different than the emergency one last year. That one was about a $20 million effort, and I don't know what this one is now. Not really sure. So this is up close and personal of some of the equipment that's used. That's the saddle that the pipe fits in. For the beach renourishment. And of course the porta units there on a loader type platform. See, when the sand is wet like this, I can actually drive on it. When I raced motocross, I used to work with air wrenches on the bike in between motos if I needed to, and use compressed air like that. They've got cylinders there. That device right in front of you is a diverter made out of a very expensive steel, I'm sure. We've got a steel rack for fabrication and probably welding gas there. There's actually, you can synthesize HHO, hydrogen and oxygen, from salt water and cut steel, melt rock with it. A water torch Denny Klein invented. I'm gonna take us out there for a moment because it's I think a pretty valuable look at this. So this is a 30-inch pipe bib or a diverter that goes on the outside. Very heavy steel. And on the video that I showed, the articulated loader is installing this on there. Can you handle the truth? When it's right in front of you, what will you do with it? Thank you. Thank you very much. So yeah, this would be like the welding support vehicle trailer. You know, they'll use all this kind of stuff to service the equipment, that type of thing. And right straight away out there is the one of the connectors for the submarine line. Since the beach access is closed, I'm not going to go out on it. Footprints in the sand. So now my auto feature doesn't have my headlights on, so I'm going to bypass that manually because I think it's dark enough that I know that even in a daylight situation, the lights being on helps visibility substantially, even with, you know, semi-trailers and that semi-trucks. So we've got buoyancy. We've got steel floats that can support massive steel pipes. They evacuate the water from the steel pipe, float it, and move it. And that's how they do that. I've seen sections of submarine pipe floating on top of the water that are over 1/4 of a mile long. So the infrastructure to do the beach renourishment costs billions of dollars to justify its hundreds of millions of dollars of existence. So when we're looking at the staff and equipment, that the personnel that are operating the equipment and all of that, it just costs a tremendous amount of money to pay crews to operate around the clock, 24/7. This is the season where we've got construction, renovation, and of course the porta potties that are out there for the working crews. That's just the season that it is. The dumpsters and all that are nearby for the for all the extra debris that's coming out for the fixing these places up because of water damage and that. All right, so this is an area where I can park right now, and I will. Should give me a pretty good view of where things are for the process today. This is where I did a broadcast from yesterday. And I can hear the diesel engines and see some of the equipment right in front of me. It's all lined up. It looks like they're not operating today. So we've got the little swimming pool here, and then I'll show you the big swimming pool that covers the face of the earth out here. And now you can get an idea for how far the water comes in. And this is the new area that they built up where they've kind of set up camp. Now, way down there is where they started out with this. Yeah, like I said, the easiest way to flip it or to zoom out is to just flip it around. So I'll do that again. See, they could go in a long ways. It's not how far in, it's how far up. Just a little bit higher and they're all good. Thank you very much. That's a good 25-mile-an-hour wind right now. So until 10 p.m. tonight, they're actually expecting quite a bit more waves and wind. They were talking about 8 to 12 foot seas. Right now we're looking at about a couple of feet only, but a high tide. And look at where it is right now. It's coming up on their little area. If it got really bad, they could just move these in or up a little bit further. But it's a bit of a challenge because it's so heavy. A cat like that probably weighs about 35,000 pounds. Those might be 50,000. I'm not sure exactly. A D7E. It's a diesel electric. So what I'm going to end up doing is I don't really need the helmet on anymore. I'm going to cut it off, take it off, and take us on back. It's easier to get suited up at home than it is to do that when it's out in the cold like this. So one of the hashtags that I was thinking of was hashtag perverted perspective. I want to use an economy of words. Just that little puddle right there, it's flat and level. So to be clear, if we were on a globe that was spinning, wobbling, and gyrating, it would be level. It would never be level. That's the reality of that. Because it would be continually moving. When in reality it's not moving at all. So one of the things that I wanted to do is get your attention and help you to consider differently. to look at life a little bit differently. This is to do a bit of a sound check too. I wanted to see what kind of a difference I have in the audio. Definitely have some bad hair going on. Yeah. So I've got a hair dryer too in here. Oh, you can see the YouTube back there. Kind of interesting. Upside down, I'm sure. This is the repurposed Crown Royal. Truth. Yeah. Did Jesus turn water into wine? Oh yeah, I believe so. He also turned whiskey into water for me. How about that? That's one of the big deals. People get ill about a lot of things. I'll tell you what, when Jesus gave me a love for the truth no matter what, it included the possibility of being a single guy again and not getting invited to places. Oh well. Getting unfriended, getting divorced, getting blocked, getting killed. Am I kidding about that? Well, I've got conservatively over 20 million views. Does that matter? I believe it does. Yeah, for sure it does. Yeah, I think that looks better than the hat. Yeah, that's the whole reactivating all the hairdo and that. So part of the deal with the body maintenance is this, that the highly purified water is a big deal in and on the body. I'm not going into one of those sensory deprivation tanks with thousands of pounds of salt. What I wanted to do was to have my body as clean, not just my body, my brain, clear of all the mind-altering chemicals. And by that, I'm not just talking about pharmaceuticals. I'm talking about the different chemicals that are infused into the food, water, air, atmosphere, frequencies. Yeah, frequencies. Ooh, that's a little weird. Well, cell towers and 5G network and all of that. I've got a 5G network in my house. How about that? A 5G router. Am I freaked out about it? No. No, I'll use the technology. It's really fast and it works good, and I'm healthy as a horse, evidently. Apparently. Okay, so I'm gonna flip this back on around. So parking can be a real issue here in the summertime. So when you're staying somewhere, you're getting a parking place too. The motorcycle works great for me to get around in the busy season. And so to be clear, when I go out in the morning and before sunrise, I have no problem parking just about anywhere I want to go. Later on in the day, that could be a bit more challenging, so I may use the motorcycle for that. That's just the reality of the world that we live in. That's just how it actually works. Wow, I can see way up in front there's a scooter or motorcycle. In this area, one of the things that we've got, some call them liquor scooters. They're mopeds that don't require insurance or licensing. So for the people that lost their license, or it can be college students and lifeguards and that have them too, that didn't have all the trouble. But then there's another whole group of people that are on them because they lost their license. I know people like that. I was a people like that. I did lose my license for drunken driving. I haven't had an infraction, a legal infraction for many, many years, because I'm not riding dirty. That's so much less complicated and a lot easier to operate a vehicle now. And on a broadcast like this, you can zoom on through and scroll from one end to the other in a matter of seconds if you want to. See what it looked like in a different location or a different time. Won't hurt my feelings. I just want to create the content and put it out there so that people can make an informed choice for eternity. And I dare say I won't dare say, I'll say it's actually the illusion of choice. God's children are going to be compelled to want to be born again, and actually will be. So we can subscribe to 100 YouTube channels a day, last I checked, and we can have 2,000 subscriptions. Unlimited subscribers. Now, PewDiePie, since he made fun of me and other flat eartheners, picked up 14 million subscribers. He was the most subscribed YouTube channel in the world when he did that. In spring, and now a little more than a half a year later, he's got 75 million subscribers. When we look in the truth movements, we know people that may have that are pretty highly recognized in the flat Earth movement. That they may have 100,000, 150,000 subscribers. Just to put that in perspective, so people will say, well, how many subscribers do I have? That's not the big deal. It's how many views do I have. I don't care whether it happens from the London Guardian, the BBC. I interviewed with them at the last Flat Earth conference. I'm not sure what they're going to do. For those of you who have been following me, check this out. PewDiePie spent a third of his first video making fun of me on Flat Earth. And then he had the meme review. I sent him my channel, a lot of content, my Facebook profile. He didn't even mention me. Go figure. When I say I'm a dangerous man for exposing the deception, I believe that's a reality. This is the Intracoastal Waterway now over a different location. The Main Street connector. See, we've got a little bit of rise and fall. Large boats can go underneath there. I'm not sure what the clearance is. Something like over 70 feet or so. I mean, I love having a cruise control and a V8 and precision vehicle. It's a vintage. This is a 1994 Lexus, but it's nice. I hope it's got 250,000 miles on. I hope it goes 1,000,000 miles. That would be fine with me. It communicates something, the truth. You can't handle the truth, or can you? Can you handle the truth? So I'm gonna see what happens when I flip this around, and we'll do a little bit of a test to see what what maybe it looks like through the view there. And then flip it around here. It's really no problem. Right now it's not against the law to do what I'm doing. And I have skills. I mean, I have no problem doing, this is heavy equipment. It's at least 3,500 pounds, and it operates at high rates of speed, potentially. Right now, just going the speed limit. Got no problem with that. I'll take it all around. People see it. Some will find my channel. I'm finding other ways to get recognition on my channel. If I just start dropping links on my of my channel, like my playlist on a video, it may not get approved. I don't know what happens. Sometimes I'll put just a link or a hashtag like NASA lies. Now what I did is I refined it a bit. Check this out. Beams. Hashtag beams. Now there's an organization called Veeam. They started making beams. Cool. I don't know much about them. I read a little bit on them. They started doing it a couple years ago. Yeah, me too. I think about 3 years ago. I think outside the box, but keep in mind, the God who now lives in and through me, He's not in any box. He created all the boxes for all the people that believe they live in one. I'm just out of the box, way out. I like that. I like that a lot. So I'm sharing a message to set people free. I'm not representing a cosmic killjoy taking the pleasure out of life. He actually provides it. So I get to do what I want because that's what He created me to do. People have died on this exit right here. Now this is the view of the retention pond from the other side. It's a matte finish now. I have a video of ducks swimming on it. And it was a really calm day, and it was cold, and the water was warm, and we could see the moisture evaporating. In this world, we've got evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. It's what drives the whole power system of the world. Hydroelectric power through dams, or steam generated with coal, nuclear, or solar. The sun drives it all. It's just what it does. That's the reality of the world. Do you know how much a gallon of water weighs? That depends on the temperature. The temperature of the water changes the density, hence the volume. So warmer water is less dense and has more volume. I've been paying attention for a long time and asking questions. Oh yeah. Flat Earth clues are all around. It's basically the reality of the world that we live in. So even though I'll drive and broadcast, I definitely give preference over the drive. That's my primary focus, is the drive. So right here we'll have more puddles. A big one right here. I'll go a little wide and show you. Yeah. And then the water goes right back down. That's what it does. So I wanted to take us out for a ride in the rain early on. the symmetry of all the flat water. Just think about it. See, the water is flat and level, and then I'll have people that will say, well, I don't understand the physics of water. I know I understand enough of them to know that undisturbed water is flat and level, that the temperature of the water changes density and volume. Do I need to keep going? Do I need to explain more? The shape of the shiny water right there is because of the okay, I'm gonna take us out and just show you that a little bit. And I'll we've got a little parking area right here on the edge. I'll be right on the edge here. It shows a perfect illustration of a couple of things I want to show you. And my lights are on for safety. Okay. So the signs are all around. This is the Lakes at Plantation Pines. There will be a meeting Wednesday the 12th. I'm going to want to be there for that. Alligators. We had a 12-footer here. The wind is coming from that direction. The shape of the shiny water has to do with the draft from the trees. I can see 2 swans down there. 2 of the swans were eaten by the alligator, or killed and eaten. It's just what happens. We had a turtle that was trapped in a drain, a storm drain down there, and I lifted the manhole cover off and got him out. He would have drowned in there because the water went up and he couldn't get out. So I'm going to show you a little something here. It's easy to see it. It's just water seeking its level. It's what it does. It goes to the low spot. This was the highest spot in our neighborhood, and the water was coming up out of the drain just down the road there. If the water came up through here, it would have been a car killer. And it would have flooded basically our living room too. If the water went over the road here, it would have meant that our living room would have had water in it as well. That's just how it actually works out. So the stormwater system that was designed to remove was bringing water into our neighborhood. So these little driveway things there, that's about $300 of plastic or composite. And I repurposed a board that I found out at the Russell Burgess Coastal Preserve, put it there by our driveway because the Cooper's got a low air ground effect. And then I threw a couple of floor mats that we weren't using. I like to repurpose things. That works for me. Just about done with the broadcast here today. I wanted to take us in and show you something though before we're done. That light right there means I'll have a dead battery unless I turn it off. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why. Wind chimes can't work upside down, baby. They don't have to. None of it has to. there you go. It's not complicated. It's just reality. That's all it is. So beams are to engage the hearts and minds. That's what that's about. So let's flip this around for the proper orientation of the print. I think that works then, doesn't it? My fuzzy mic. Oh, here's Pearl. I'm going to flip it around so you can see her better. She's a little grumpy. She likes people more than other kitties. There's the Smeagol. He's the favorite kitty of all. He's got a 6-foot vertical leap. He's not ready to go jumping around right now, though. Smeagol. Yeah, he's a little sleepy. So when I left earlier, I was talking about bathing in the drinking water, and that I couldn't bathe in 1.5 gallons of water. So what I did is I bought a bunch of these. They're like $15 a piece, and it's actually polycarbonate. It's not plastic. I don't want to absorb a bunch of plasticizers or estrogen mimicking chemicals. The idea here is to take highly purified water and to draw the toxins out of my body. The tank here is helium, which I put in the globe I'm about to show you. YouTube truth? Yeah, I don't get many views right here, but it keeps them flat. Now I can get a whole lot more views when it goes out on the internet, as well as Bible.com. And I can put those on whenever I like. When I left, I put everything down to a low temperature, and we can see the boiling. It looks like, as best I can tell, boiling when it bubbles. It's got something to do with the separating of the oxygen-hydrogen bond, maybe. What are the bubbles in boiling water? I don't know. They're hot. And the bubbles will form in the glass bottles that are out on the when I put them outside. So I prefer stainless, and this one here is not stainless, but it's an old canning container, and I dropped that down to 200. Now even if we have a power outage today, this is a nice warm area. It'll hold a lot of temperature. That's one of the things with that. So one of the other dynamics, I don't know why my video stopped playing. Typically they'll just keep on going. So what I'm going to do is reactivate it. This is how so many of us got to know the truth about the world that we live in, through the internet. So I'm going to put it up on my studio TV right now. It's on its way. Supposed to be. Come on. So I don't know why it didn't want to do that, but I'm going to try it again. Yeah, it says it's happening, but it's not. Technology is great when it works, right? So let's reactivate it, and I'll just put it here. I'll put it on this one. Well, that is just weird. I'm not getting the sound out of my computer right now. Okay, what I did is I just shut it all down and there we go. So my guess would be you're looking at it right side up now. So the beeping sound, that beeping sound, kind of funny. I remember a Seinfeld episode with that. I'm just going to mute it for a moment and finish this up. Show you a little bit of something I was working on earlier that I talked about. So does water curve? Absolutely. It curves around the corner, fills its container, covers the face of the earth, doesn't conform to a ball. It'll spin off of there. The surface of the water is flat and level. You could check it out. The truth is not afraid of investigation. We don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. Well, hello. It's just water seeking its level. It's just what it does. So I was when I looked in the mirror, and I was an active drug addict. I was addicted to pharmaceuticals as they were prescribed, but I was addicted to them. And then I added other chemicals and alcohol to my body to try and enjoy life. I was a miserable man that didn't want to live, but I didn't want to kill myself either. Okay? What happened was Jesus intervened, gave me His Holy Spirit, a love for the truth, new life, a passion, purpose, eternal perspective. I talk about this stuff pretty regularly, and I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you the world from a different perspective, an eternal perspective, one that realizes there's difficulty in life and we may encounter all kinds of opposition. However, the reality is that's only temporary. Eternity is a long time to regret. So, I'm making Veeams showing the reality that this is what water does. Water does not form into a ball. I've got highly purified, carbon filtered, solar activated when I can water that I'll bathe in. And it works great. Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, do boats do that anywhere except in the imagination? So I've got to flip this around because I'm showing it upside down. There, it's all kind of weird. Birds flying upside down, all of that. So a Veeam is very specific in that I created a Veeam to show the reality of the world that we live in. To people, some that are interested in knowing, some maybe not so much. Oh well. This is Robert Forsch. I'm going to hashtag my name a few times around too, so people can find my channel. That's I want them to do more than find my channel. I want them to find out the truth about the reality of the world that we live in. Are these guys hanging on for dear life? I don't think so. No. They're not spinning, wobbling, or gyrating. They're just sitting in the cab of their cat, getting ready to move it around. So the high definition video of this will be linked to this video after I convert it to a YouTube, and you can see that. And I'll be capturing more. I'm not. My Veeams are for people who realize just one meme is not enough. Thank you so much for your public and private encouragement.